Online classic car auction scams. I don't know if sometimes I might be getting ahead of myself when I call these things scams, but I've been watching out for, let's say, discrepancies in the classic car auction world for years. And so recently I was contacted by a YouTube subscriber who had purchased a vehicle on Bring a Trailer, and what we were trying to determine was whether or not the car just had a bunch of needs because it was an older car, or if he genuinely got lied to and taken. And so this is a really difficult set of questions to ask, but I have a feeling that we could shed some light on it through the following video. So, how do you know whether you've bought a lemon or just an honest older car that needs a few more things? I like to put these two cars in separate categories, because if you look at a 30 or 40-year-old Mercedes and judge it too harshly, you'll find that there's always something that could be better. I've rarely seen a no-needs car or a car with very few needs. I think the car that comes to mind is my friend Will's coupe he used to own, that I looked at in his garage, and I looked at the car and I said, this car's pretty much perfect, apart from a couple of little niggly things that aren't even really that bad. And yes, he went on to sell the car for what I thought was a record number for a coupe. But he and a lot of other people I know who have some really nice cars often don't just go out and sell these things and Bring a Trailer. The cars you find on Bring a Trailer and similar sites are cars that do need some stuff. And the seller you have to watch out for is the guy that's selling a car that looks like it has a very long maintenance log, but is actually really not that well maintained. Case in point, about 5 years ago, somebody offered a 300 TD wagon. And the car had a bunch of stupid little things on it that just didn't even really add up to a full day at the shop. I think they said oil changed recently, AC converted to 134 with new Schrader valve fittings. Doesn't say whether it's leaking or not. Valves adjusted. This is like a basic maintenance procedure. What else? Door hinges greased. Light bulbs changed and taillights. Shifter bushing replaced on shift linkage. It's like all these little nickel and dime things that you're wondering, where was the big money spent in the car? Now, the bidders saw right through this, and I think somebody bid the price of a car that needs a bunch of work, which is about $6,000 or $6,500. Maybe it was a little high considering we don't know the real mileage of the car, but when you see cars like this, what you need to realize is these little nickel and dime BS work lists add up to no appreciable value for the car. That oil change, probably going to need to be done again because it was probably a Purolator filter and cheap oil. Those taillight bulbs, probably made in China. The brake pads that were removed and had lubricant applied, probably AutoZone pads, which is why they were squealing so much. These are all parts of jobs, parts of bigger jobs that should be done. Now, what I see a lot of the time that people sort of mistake for a bad car and Bring a Trailer are original cars that haven't had a lot of really in-depth service or analysis. In other words, they're cars that need everything except maybe an interior, a paint job, an engine rebuild, and a transmission rebuild. And if you get one of these sort of pickled cars or untouched cars that haven't had a lot of maintenance but also haven't been run into the ground, you're kind of safe. And that's where I stand on a lot of older Mercedes that we find on sites like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist as well. I'd rather have the car that's been sitting for 25 years with one owner or maybe two owners than a car that's been passed from owner to owner and slowly been improved with the use of Chinese parts and low quality lubricants and sort of half-baked repairs, rather than a car where everything was actually done right and pursued to the end. And granted, there are very few cars out there that are fully sorted, but those are worth paying the extra premium for as well, because the cost of parts and labor is so high. That's why when people show up trying to beat me up over. That's why I don't sell cars, because I know that people will show up and try to beat me up over 1,000 here, 2,000 there, but I can't help it. It's the cost of what it costs to sort a car. That's why I just don't do it a lot for private car sales. Anyway, if you found this video to be extremely useful or informative, or might help you with your future Classic Mercedes purchase, please like, share, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. And I'm going to tell you about one more Bring a Trailer scam, since you were so patient. That's just going to take a few more seconds. So on Bring a Trailer, sometimes people will offer a car that has been offered in the past and claim a bunch of improvements have been done. But many a time, these improvements are actually linked to false invoices, and false invoices are becoming more of a problem in the automotive world. If somebody can actually get a shop and pay them to write an invoice or make the invoice look like an estimate, and an estimate look like an invoice, they could get away by assuming that just because a car works well enough in certain areas that it's actually a decent car. So you have to watch out for fake invoices. And if you buy a car off of Bring a Trailer, make sure that the work has actually been done that's stated in any invoices. All right, I hope you guys found this useful. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.